Um, Right, good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Good afternoon. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can hear you.
all right, thank you. This is already 12, 10 minutes after 12, and so as not to keep us waiting, I would like us to proceed with the section. Um, this time here before you, hold on. All right, good afternoon once again. My name is Douglas, and I'm hosting this event, the Become ST Career Talk for the month of February. So welcome to this month's edition of the Income Excavator themed Empowering Diversity, that is cultivating an inclusive mindset and career in tech. So in today's rapidly evolving landscape, being a skilled coder or a brilliant strategist is no longer enough. True success lies in our ability to foster inclusivity and bridge diverse perspectives. So, joining us today are two seasoned professionals who will share invaluable insights from their wealth of experience, guiding us on how to navigate this intersection to build globally competitive careers in technology. So, our audience, please have your pens and paper ready to jot down your questions, as this promises to be a highly interactive and transformative section. We have a dedicated Q&A segment where you can engage directly with the experts. My voice is echoing. Okay. Hold on, let me. Is my voice still echoing? Can you hear me now? Please confirm you can hear me clearly. So I proceed. Please someone to confirm if you can hear me properly.
Yes, I can hear you from my end. I think the others should confirm as well.
Okay, okay. All right. Sharpening, you need to rejoin. Should be a network from your end. Um, So let's get started. Our first speaker today is Mr. Terhad Ichiru, and he's a dynamic growth expert. He's a dynamic growth BCM engineer and an agile project manager with over 12 years of experience driving businesses growth and optimizing operational efficiency across various industries. Starterhide is certified in growth marketing and project management and focuses on leveraging his unique skills to lead transformative growth initiatives. His long-term goal is to become a key player in scaling high-impact growth strategies within tech-driven organizations, making him an ideal advocate for empowering diversity in our industry. Let's do also want to welcome Mr. Tehan. Mr. Tehan, the producers, please turn on your camera too. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, let me be sure it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm hoping everybody's joining in from Nigeria. That's why I say good afternoon. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
and you can see my camera is on for some reason. I am not seeing myself. Okay, awesome. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and trust we're having a great weekend. I am, and I hope you are too. And thank you to Douglas and the Beacom team. This is, I think, my third time here or second time here, and it's always a great session. And also to my co-speaker, I didn't Kingsley. Yeah, Kingsley. I didn't get your name. Thank you. Thank you once again. Um, talking about, I have some slides prepared. Is it okay to share?
Yeah, of course, yes, you can share your screen.
Okay, I will share my screen now, then we just talk. I'll try and keep it very, very um I try and keep it simple. I also try and keep it real practical as well, because I'm a very practical and hands-on person. I don't like talking theories only. Okay. And so they were looking at the topic of inclusivity. So let's even start by understanding what inclusivity simply means. And it's very important because we live in a culture, in a nation that is very, very diverse. Now, diversity can be a strength and a weakness at the same time. Um, Diversity means, I mean, it is a strength because you have expressions, different expressions of ourselves as Nigerians in different places. But then it also brings the problem where just recently, just let me just digress a bit. I think I saw somebody's WhatsApp post and it made a very, very interesting analogy and said he highlighted Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa, and then he made those ones very bold. And then the other languages, he just put them small, 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 small. See, of all the languages in Nigeria, why only these three, right? So that even brought to my mind, they say the reason why there needs to be a lot of inclusivity in Nigeria. And as we go along, as I speak on my slides, you get to understand some of these things and why, right? So, first of all, the topic or the term inclusivity simply means giving everybody equal opportunity, irrespective of who you are, where you come from, the language you speak, your um, spiritual disposition, Muslim, Christian, idol worship, or whatever it is. Just giving everybody a chance and equal fair playing ground. And of course, we don't want to go into politics and history and all of that. We have not enjoyed a lot of that, but we have a chance in the technology ecosystem to be able to do just that. Okay. All right, let's go into the slides and I'll talk as we go along. Now, what's happening in the tech ecosystem? We see that Nigeria, of all of Africa, Nigeria, I think South Africa has overtaken it, but as at last year, Nigeria had the most amount of tech founding in Africa, had the most share, the lion's share. I'm not sure of this status as today, but I think I'm not sure, but I think South Africa is top now, while Nigeria comes second. In terms of funding, that means there is a lot of equity coming into Nigeria, even though funding has slowed down in the past 2, 3 years because of a lot of waste, thanks to some of our interesting founders. But it still remains that Nigeria is a very, very viable ground. And again, I'm bringing the point that because of our diversity, that becomes a strength or a weakness to us. Now, what else is happening in the Nigeria ecosystem? We have Nigeria has produced 5 unicorns. That is awesome. That's amazing. I think Nigeria has the highest amount of unicorns in the whole of Africa. Unicorn simply means companies that have reached $1 billion capitalization. So we have the likes of Flutterwave, InterSwitch, and Dela Jumia. I think, if I'm not mistaken, MoneyPoint has joined this gang. I'm not very sure. But I think if MoneyPoint doesn't join this gang, it's nearing joining this gang of unicorns that have been bettered in Africa. So it still boils down to the fact that Nigeria is still a viable place. What else are we looking at in terms of statistics? 30% of women in Nigeria's tech workforce are well below the, sorry, I didn't to, I want to, okay, awesome. 30% of women in Nigeria's tech workforce are way below the talent pool. That means the number of women in Nigeria's tech talent force is less. So we have an average of more men in the tech talent force. And then it says again, 15%, less than 15% women are in senior leadership. That has begun to change a little bit. I work in a financial institution, and currently CEO and MD is a woman. So we're seeing that begin to change. There are other few financial institutions and other big organizations that begin to see a lot of inclusion where women are taking the upper hand. By the way, please, if you're a lady here, this is not about women empowerment or anything. We're talking inclusivity generally. So a lot of times the fact of women has to come into play. And I think this is largely because of the kind of culture we come from, or generally where men are perceived to be better off than women. But again, that's the reason why we're having this conversation. All right, so what does inclusion really mean for Nigeria? Number one, 3 pillars of inclusion. One, representation. Two, belonging. And then third, equity. Representation simply means who's in the room. you're not looking at somebody based on where he came from. Now, you will find a lot of dichotomy. You will see that there's just this perception that if you're from Lagos or you're a developer in Lagos or you build a startup in Lagos, you're just better off than every other person. And that those are some of these walls that we need to start breaking down by having inclusive tech ecosystems where Lagos or Abuja tech hubs are not just perceived as the best, right? Um, are we doing the best that we're doing in having better representation? I'm beginning to see that the tech ecosystem is beginning to grow. I'm seeing Enugu as a place booming tech. Just recently, I think last week, Osun State also had, even though it's still in the West, Osun State had their tech day and all of that. I see Kano also is a booming tech economy, Kaduna, and also this is what we're talking about representation. What we need is tech ecosystem that is represented across board, not just Lagos and Abuja alone. Every part of the country should be represented. Next, we talk about belonging. We're talking about, can a woman engineer a Lagos startup speak up without fear? That's a female engineer. Can they speak up without fear? Can a developer from the north challenge somebody, somebody's product decision? Because that perception is there that anybody from the north is generally somebody that is slow or somebody that cannot think. And these are things that we need, these are dichotomies that we need to break away from to have a better careers and better tech ecosystems, right? And then the final one is equity. Do all team members have equal access to equal opportunities? Is that the current experience we're having now, where some parts of the country are perceived to be better than others, even during interviews? Once we just see that your name is from a particular certain kind of place, then a stereotype is placed on you. And so if we must have very good inclusivity in Nigeria, there must be fair representation. Everybody must have a sense of belonging, not showing that one person is better than the other. And then equity means everybody has equal rights and all of that. Now, what are the hidden barriers in that are stopping or hampering inclusivity in Nigeria? We have gender bias, a lot of gender bias. Women are tend to be seen as weaker people, while in the sense, it will interest you to know that women are a lot more resilient than men. Taking a look at what they have to deal with on a daily basis. That's no bash to the men. Men also are resilient in their own way, but not looking down on women, okay? Tribal and religious bias. We just feel some people from a certain geographical zone are better or less knowledgeable than others. Abuja versus Lagos debate. This is something that is always in if you belong to tech ecosystems. I know a lady venture capitalist who is very particular of not opening an office in Lagos because she feels that Lagos is oversaturated and the north does not have representation enough. And so she's more focused on the north and the southeast. So there's always that debate. Lagos, Abuja, who is better? No, it shouldn't be that. It should be the entire inclusiveness across all four geopolitical zones in the country. Uh, Lack of female-focused mentorship. And then, of course, we have the biggest one, which is the JACBA, where the best of our best talents are leaving the country. All of them. We've all, of course, we all know about the JACBA syndrome, where the best of our talents are finding better jobs outside the country, migrations in mass. These are the barriers that are really hampering the tech industry. And so, what is the business case, or what do we have in Nigeria that makes us, or that will make a very good business case? Because if you're in tech, you everything you do, whether you're building a product or a service or whatever it is you're doing, you have to have a business case that justifies what it is you're doing. Okay, and so for us, these are some of the things that we're seeing. We have a very strong population of over 200 million people. Some people estimate it to be as much as 250 million people in Nigeria. And of course, a larger percentage of this population are young people. Therefore, there is need to be inclusive. I've also shown you the stats that Nigeria has one of the highest um, venture-backed equity that has been pumped into Nigeria. This makes, if all of that money is only coming to Lagos and Abuja, there definitely is a problem. Of course, if there's more inclusivity, Jagba, people living in the country will not be a case, would have better, we have all the best of our talents still here in Nigeria. And of course, diverse leaderships and things like that. diverse leaderships across board, meaning that diversity should be part of what we do, or part of our recruitment process, part of our promotion process, and everything we do. Companies should adopt that strategy of making sure people are very well inclusive. I wrote here that Nigeria is the next unicorn and will be built by a diverse team. Remember, one of the first things I said in my opening thought was that Nigeria's diversity is a blessing, but then it can also be a curse. So we are here to look at the things. This is what makes Nigeria a great business case for inclusivity. So, what are the things that we can do to start including to have an inclusive mindset? Number one is from we hire the best homogeneous teams, not looking at homogeneous teams. We're looking to build for everyone. So you're not looking at only the best in Lagos, only the best in Abuja. You're looking for the best of the best across board. Okay. You're moving away from tribal and religious thinking. I only hire because this set of people have gone to school more. They're going to be better off and all of that. To a Pan-African talent mindset, meaning that I'm not just looking at one particular geographical zone. I'm looking at everywhere across the country. I'm trying to find the best of the best talent. From women are not interested in tech, which is a big lie. Any woman in the house here, if you're in the house and you believe what I'm saying, let me see a thumbs up. Are they women in the house? Okay, let me just go ahead. So bringing in, being very deliberate about women and bringing them. People generally say women are interested in tech. I don't think that's the truth. We have seen very strong tech women. I'll show some of examples. Our pipeline and cultures aren't working for women, so we need to make cultures that include women. And then we have the case of Jackpot is inevitable. All the talents will leave. When you build a solid company, so think about companies like MoneyPoint, Flutterwave. They have their talents resident here, and people, the rate of turnover, companies like Flutterwave, Paystack, the rate of turnover is very, very low. Why? Because they've built companies that make customers, I mean customers, yes, and then their own staff as well to be extremely satisfied. So what's the reason? Why do I need to jackpot when I can live the best of my life here? Most times when people are leaving the country is because they envisage a better life. And so if more and more companies could hire and recruit and train and make talents better here, then the brain drain is going to reduce. Okay. Next. So we're looking at it from, I'm looking at it now from both an individual and then speaking to founders and leaders as well. What can you do to build inclusive careers in Nigeria as an individual and then for leaders? Number one, for individuals, document, share your wins. Don't assume visibility comes automatically in busy Nigerian startups. Document and share your wins. Make sure everybody is knowing exactly what's happening with you. That way, you attract people of like-mindedness, not only from uh, your local circle, but then global and international cycles and even cycles around Nigeria. And a very good platform to do this is LinkedIn. I am very personally very passionate about LinkedIn. That's where you see me most active when it comes to social media. Find a sponsor in the Lagos Abuja tech cycles who will put your name in rooms where you've not been heard. Now, this is speaking to people who feel very marginalized, especially some parts of the country. Let me be specific. Maybe you're from the north and you feel that a lot of things are not said about you. One of the things you can do is find a sponsor that is already where you want to be, and let them have your mouth. Let them shine light on what it is you're doing. Find people that are already in the spaces where you want to be, so that they can talk about what you're doing. So that the light. Sometimes it's just a case of people not knowing exactly what's happening. Like I was really very surprised when I saw the tech ecosystem in Kaduna, really, really very robust with a lot of co-working spaces and all of that. But not much of mention is made around these things. So what you want to do is make sure people that matter the most, especially in the industry. Of course, Abuja and Lagos are the most talked about tech ecosystems. Let your name be heard in those places as well. Join communities. Be very, very specific. Be very, very deliberate about joining communities where people from all over the country belong to. Make sure you're in those kind of communities so that once things are said, you also can make your contribution. That's for us as individuals. Then for leaders and thought leaders, maybe some of them are not here, but actively recruit from universities in the north, southeast. This is just me saying the same thing I was saying. Let's not only limit it to Lagos alone. Make opportunities, make open opportunities for everybody across the country, across all. There are fantastic people across the country that are doing fantastic things as well. So let's ensure to make that open for everybody. Make sure you sponsor, don't just mentor, sponsor people. There are people that have ideas outside of Lagos and Abuja that have very great and fantastic ideas, but don't have enough funding to go about it. And then use your investors and co-founders to give light or give room to less inclusive or less inclusive communities. Okay, these are some things that we can do to be more inclusive, systematic things we can do, structured hiring, making sure that we're, just like I mentioned before, we're hiring across all geographical zones, pay transparency, making sure that pay is very good and is very transparent, and people are not just earning money that they didn't work for. Being very specific about including women in your tech ecosystem. DEI simply means diversity, equity, and inclusivity. Have metrics that drive this so that you're tracking and making sure that you're cutting across all your KPIs when it comes to DEI. Investing in pipelines. That's you don't have to wait for talents to be fully blown right from when they are still in school. ABU, some of these schools in the north, start investing in them, start organizing hackathons and things like that. I know Lincoln does a very great job of doing that. And then have a zero tolerance culture where you're building tolerance, not to be biased, zero tolerance. Everybody's treated equally, right? Of course, these are great stories from African tech, the African techs, and some of the great stories that have broken the barriers of inclusivity. We have She Code Africa, who has made it a point of duty to make sure women in tech um, are very powerfully equipped and funded. We have Andela. Andela broke, I mean, one of the unicorns that have been formed. One of the things they did was broke that mold and made sure the best of the best are trained, and we found talent pools. They found talent pools across the entire country. And Andela even changed the model of development. In fact, I would argue that Andela made developers to start earning a lot more, because prior to now, developers were not really regarded so much. But I think Andela did a great job in breaking that mold and standardize developers' work. And of course, we have female founders, companies like Bamboo and Piggyvest have female founders who have drawn a lot of foreign funding and are showing the way. So these are stories that we can take and say that yes, these are people that have done it, and of course it can be done again. And so, what's the call to action for all of us? Make sure you listen, you learn, speak up, and open the door. Refer somebody. If you're here, you have the opportunity to refer others. Make sure you refer others. If you can hire other people, make sure you hire them. Speak up. Let your voice be known. Right. And then in conclusion, one of the things I'll say finally, the best inclusivity, or the best way to be very, very inclusive, or to make sure that you're not looked down upon, is build extreme competence in what it is you're doing. When you are competent and you're extremely good at what you're doing, nobody can ignore you, no matter where you are. It's very impossible for light to be shining and darkness will not give way. I'm not trying to be churchy here. It's just the truth or the fact about life. Once you're extremely good, your light will always shine and you break every barrier of inclusiveness. So, after everything I've said, the greatest inclusive factor is you being excellently good at what you are. So that when you stand at the table to talk, it won't matter where you are from, your excellence would always speak for you. All right. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't bore you with this talk of mine. I will yield the mic now. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no you didn't. It was actually impactful. Thank you so much for the height for inspiring us to see how technology and diverse perspective can come together create an impactful solution to our rapidly evolving world. Yeah, that was actually impactful. Thank you so much. Um, Now moving on to our next speaker, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Kingsley Udoma. Mr. Kingsley is an experienced senior software engineer with a proven track record in information technology and financial services industries. His extensive skills set encompasses software development, system architecture, and tech project lifecycle management. Kingsley's core strengths lies in mobile app solutions, system designs, fintech, software development, enterprise software, e-commerce, and application architecture. His expertise in these areas position him as a vital contributor to the evolving landscape technology. With the diverse work in working history spanning in fintech, edtech, finance, and software industries, he has brought a wealth of knowledge and insights from we have been doing this through our discussion today. And then it's coming to innovative solutions and inclusive practices and techniques being an ideal speaker for our team of empowering diversity and cultivating inclusiveness mindset in the tech industry. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Kinsley to the stage. Mr. Kinsley, introduce yourself. Please kindly share your camera.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Douglas. Please can anyone hear me?
Yeah, sure, can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Douglas, for this invite. I'm grateful, and also thank you, Mr. Terrio, for the presentation. It was nice, and then we all learned from it, and then also thank you, our audience for for having us here. So I will also be I was speaking to us about empowering diverse talents. So Mr. Taylor has said a lot of things, which are actually same thing like what I have. So I will back it up. Being a developer, being an engineer. So I know that most of us here, some of us are products engineers, some of us are software engineers. So I will also look into how we as engineers can set ourselves in the place of not being looked down upon, also probably being able to compete in the global stage as well. So I will share my screen. Let me see. All right. Please, can we also my screen now?
Um, yeah, it's loading. Yeah.
All right. How
Yeah, I
about
can
now?
see your
Is it
screen now. Yeah, yes, I can see your screen now.
all right? All right. Thank you very much. So, so I'll be speaking on empowering diverse talents, like the tech said, cultivating inclusive mindset and careers in tech. So obviously, Mr. Terrell has given us a lot of, not just has given us a lot of points, and has also given us a lot of proofs of why there has to be empowerment as engineers, not just as engineers, but as mentors, as hiring managers, or probably as product founders. So, without wasting much of our time, so I'll just go through few slides. So, I have here like the diversity gap in tech. As Mr. Taylor said, we have few women who are dominating tech industry. So like I have 26% of competing roles held by women. So you can see that it's really low. And then we also have 5% of tech workers who identify as black in the global stage globally. And then also we have few numbers as well, 8% who identify as Hispanic. So these numbers are really few. Especially we black, so we are not really dominating in the global stage. And then despite the rapid growth of things, we are still there's still a gap. So the next slide will be why inclusion drives innovation. So in most companies that we have, like we have Money Point, like we have the Paystack, like we have the Bamboo, right? Most of these companies hardly use probably just white or just the Indians, but there's inclusion in terms of different races, different backgrounds, different region, different religion, and then also different levels of developer, different levels of engineers. So, because, one of the most important things, one of the first things when it comes to inclusion is that, it gives an avenue for you to contribute. It gives an avenue for you to lend your voice. Take, for example, right, you are in a roundtable meeting whereby a product or a feature is being discussed, and because you are black, then you feel you don't have a say, probably because you have this imposter syndrome, and then you feel your input cannot kill, or your input cannot solve a problem. So you don't really have to feel that way, because you have to ensure that you vet yourself, you undergo very good mentorship, you undergo a very high level skill training in terms of development, in terms of your role. So that gives you an edge, that gives you a very strong mindset, or very strong inclusive mindset, that you too can speak, you can do it in as much as others can do it. So you too can do it. So no, like we have here, we have the trend rate of higher revenue, because when companies come together with different people, right, different brains, different smart people, different geniuses, right, they tend to build something great. And then we also have broader problem solving. So right, like problems we have in Africa here, right, there are people outside Africa that may not really understand the nature of the problem we have in Africa, or imagine problems being faced by Indians. People in Africa may not be able to really understand the problems faced by Indians, or being able to put a solution to these problems. So broader problem solving also comes whereby when we have different minds, different people in the teams, and then we also have stronger talent pipeline, which says inclusive cultures attract top talents from full global pool. So being a talent isn't just about you being able to write code. Of course, every engineer knows how to write code. Of course, every engineer knows how to debug. But what makes you outstanding, what makes you being able to compete in the global stage? Because of course, as an engineer, right, you can write code, but are you able to function in a very cultured settings, in a very organized settings? So take, for example, someone who understands company structures, the Jira, the Kanban board, the ways in which software engineering is being done differently, is being done, like let's, for example, right, you releasing a new feature into the system, and then you just push your code to the main branch, and then of course, someone else who understand engineering will know, okay, you have to create a new branch to deploy a feature or to deploy a change. So it undergoes testing. So all these things, it shows that there are different coders with different levels of experience, with different exposures. So you really have to understand most of these engineering practices, most of development practices, and most of these organization practices. So by the time you find yourself in any opportunity, when you find yourself in any environment, you will be able to put up your voice there. You'll be able to speak, not being scared, but being able to speak. And then also better product design, like we are, products are built by diverse teams, different teams, wider audience, and then so that still goes back to how you, as an engineer, or as a designer, or as a DevOps engineer, or different skill set, you are able to position yourself, to build great products. Learn, relearn, master, work, learn from mentors, learn from organizations, attend bootcamps, attend interviews. Most of these things add to your development, because let's say you attended an interview as a Nigerian, you attended an interview outside Nigeria, so that exposes you to the ways in which recruiters ask questions, the way in which they want their answers to be represented might not be the same way we do here in Nigeria. So that gives you a wider experience when it comes to answering questions and pulling things. So the next slide also said building inclusive pathways. So like we are so buyers and we're hiring. So as recruiters, you don't have to be biased in terms of hiring, and then also we have mentorship programs. You can go into mentorship. We have a lot of them, right? we have C code, we have the HNG, we have the MIT by the government, and then we also have the third one, which is the pay equity audit. So you know, regular compensation reviews, close percent with gaps, all these things. So you have to compete, and then we also have the ERGs and community. So we said employee resources groups that foster belonging and connection. Communities are very good. When it comes to communities, most times you have jobs, you have recommendations, you have references from these people, and all these things really, really count. So and then we also have accessibility learning, which says fund education pathways, bootcamp, and upskilling initiatives. So that still has to do with you joining communities of learners, builders, founders, for you to get vetted, get trained, and get mentorships too. And then also we also have inclusive leaderships, which says train managers to recognize bias and model inclusive behaviors. All these things has to do with organizations, when hiring, when seeing your color, when seeing your race, when seeing how you speak, all those things also it's also has to building very good inclusive pathways for skill sets. So the last one we have here is the time is to act now. So your commitment matters. It's time to act now. You commit, you invest, and then you amplify. So because as a developer or as an engineer, right? Most times you really really tend to you want to build, you want to join big companies, you want to join big startups, you want to build product at scale, you want to develop system that over 1K, 2K, millions use. You have to position yourself in a very very solid level. So, for example, like I said earlier on, that you can write codes on your PC, you can deploy actions on your PC, but it is not just limited to that, because you as an individual who understand how to write code, who understand how to push an application live, right? You are different from someone who works in an organization, who understand how code is meant to be written, who understand how code is meant to be maintained, who understand how code skills, who understands how they document their code bases. Because most times in tech you document a lot, because you are not just one working, right? So you have to document your codes, document your journeys, because most importantly your journeys, because most times when hiring managers want to hire you, they look at your profile, they look at what you've done, they look at what you've built, they go to your LinkedIn, they search your name on Google. Most of us there, right? If we search our names on Google, we are nowhere to be found. We are really nowhere to be found. So most times your visibility isn't just about something that happens automatically. Like Mr. Terry said, your visibility doesn't happen automatically. It is you going out to do something. It is you going out there to volunteer. It is you going out there to contribute to open source. Most times to open source is very, very important as engineers. Right, there are a lot of open source tools out there, like the AI tools, like the models, like some softwares out there that are open source and free. It's engineers that contribute to those things. So as a developer or as an engineer who has done those things, and then you are in the midst of hiring managers, and they ask you, oh, what have you done? What have you built? You can boldly tell them, okay, this is what I've built, that's what I built, that's what I built, this is what I built, this is what I spoke. All those things. It scales you up, not just as a black person, but as someone who really knows what he's doing, or someone who really knows what she's doing. So, all these things add to you. It adds to your learning path. It adds to what makes you a better engineer, or what makes you a better developer, or what makes you a better designer, or in any part of tech, that you do. So, all these things adds it adds a lot, because most times we as engineers, we complain a lot about most times jobs are not being favorable to us, employers don't hire us. Most of these things don't happen, or it is because of, most times it's always because of our positioning. It's always because of how we present ourselves. It's always because of how we negotiate, because most of us just know how to write code, because when we write a simple code and then probably to build an application and then it's live, and then we stop there. We don't learn the data science concept, we don't learn the algorithm concept, we don't learn data structures concept, we don't learn how to use basic tools like Jira, like the Trello, like understanding how Kanban is, understanding how different documentation tools goes, and how hiring managers, the product managers interact with developers, how to document all these things. So all these things are things that employers, recruiters look at, because if you just say you are a developer who can write code, it doesn't stop from there. It's different. It's really different. And then also reference to matters. You work with a company, and then you did a lot of great jobs. You increase the sales. You wrote a product that solved a particular problem. All these things. When other companies ask you for reference, you can gladly ask for reference in your previous company, because all these things adds a lot. So it's always good that you position yourself, you act, you contribute to open source, you build products as well, and then our designers as well design product that works well. Cut down user issues, cut down a lot of problems when you design, all these things. So it really makes you better day by day. And then also you need to also try to compete in a global stage. Don't just sit down and say job will come. Apply to job, attend interviews, try out interviews, even if you don't get the job, but understand the way things work, understand the way you were being asked to answer questions, understand the way you were being asked to document a code or to write a code. Yeah. So all those things really add to your value. It adds to what you can give, because of course, um most recruiters look at what you can do, not just about your race, not just about where you're from, but what can you do, what can you build, what can you offer most times. So if you position yourself to offer value, you are good to go. So all those things really add. So I think I've talked a lot about most of these things. So please try as much as possible best to document your journeys, contribute, learn the way things work on the high level. All these things really works. So thank you very much, everyone. I think we are open for other questions, and then Mr. Douglas can take over. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kingsley, for that. Yeah, you're correct in all you said. We all need to pay attention, be educated in whatever we are doing. It's very, very important. So, to the audience, we are now in the Q and A segment. So, anyone who have questions can raise up their hands, or you can type it in the chat box, and I'll read it out aloud for the speakers to answer. If you have questions, please raise up your hand so I can call you. Though I also have my questions. I have loads of them to ask the speakers. So anyone who has questions can signify. So to the speakers, one of the question I have is concerning advocating for diversity. Though right from when we've all been little going to school, like there is always this talk about advocating for diversity, be it in school or in the workplace. But looking at it, let's see over the past 10 years or to the current position we are in Nigeria, I don't know, has this been actually effective? Like this advocating for diversity. So I can't hear you if you're speaking.
Okay.
Can
I thought
any
Kingsley was going. Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, he's speaking, but I can't hear him.
Okay. I think he's muted. Kingsley, your mic is mute.
Yes, sorry, I wasn't speaking. You can take the floor, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Kingsley, since you're giving the mic to me. The truth is, yes, you're very right. But then I think that's the beauty of technology. We're beginning to see a shift. A couple of days ago, I was talking to a lady and she was in Kano and we were trying to troubleshoot something together. And I was like, wow, this is really, really, she was building a workflow and she had some challenges with some things and she reached out to me. And by the way, the same thing Kingsley talked about, community. We belong to the same community and she put out a question and I told her, let's jump on a call outside. And then we had a separate call. And I got to discover she's actually in Kano. and she had, sorry, please, no offense, she had her hijab on while we're having that call, and I was really encouraged. Yes, I agree with you that the trend is really slow. Of course, Nigeria is still an emerging country, but then we're beginning to see that technology is beginning to break these bounds. We're beginning to see ladies step up. We're beginning to see a lot of more speaking up. It won't happen in one day. It won't happen in one day, but
Yeah, sure.
continuously. There's one principle that guides me generally in life, and it's by the late Stephen Covey in his book, very popular book, Seven Habits of Successful People. There's things that you do not have control about. You can only control what you have within your environment. And
Yeah,
that's why if
sure. Yeah,
everybody is
sure.
beginning to have that mindset of inclusiveness, and then this person has it, then this person has it, then that person has it, what we'll do at the end of the day is form a bigger cycle that at the end of the day will affect the entire country. But one person alone cannot do it. So you have a product, you start thinking inclusivity. You're a developer, you're thinking inclusivity. You're a HR person, you're thinking inclusivity. Eventually, the multiplier effect or the combined effect of this mindset, it's then what causes the change. Again, it's not going to happen in one day. And thankfully, just before I
Sure.
drop, we can see one of the things that is happening. One of the Minister Bosun, is one that is really, really changing a lot of things in the ecosystem. Some of the things he's doing or putting in place, hopefully, we pray that other people can take up from where he has started. If we have this kind of representation consequently in our ministerial appointments, you will see that over time things will change. But to be honest,
Sure.
I totally agree with you that the change is rather small, but progressively over time, I believe that we would see the multiply effect someday.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Thank you so much for your response. Yeah, so we have another question in the chat box. I don't know, should I read it out or you can check it out from here?
Okay. Kingston, do you want to take this one? As a student, how to deal with unachieved goals and have other important tasks to attend to? Like a situation where someone is learning a particular software and struggling to get understand it, abandoned it, and go ahead. Yeah, totally understood. Kingston, let me have you take a dig at this, and I can come in later.
Mr.
Hello,
Kinsley, are you
Kingston.
there?
Yes. I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yes,
can
we can
hear
hear
you,
you. I think
please.
the question is in the
All
chat
right.
box.
All right. So you said that the students how to deal with unachieved goals and have other attacks, or then like a situation where any stand and right. All right. So I was a student as well, like you. So and in a Nigerian university, you have to attend classes. I think most times from Mondays to Fridays and at times Saturdays. So
Sorry,
which
this.
leaves
Yeah,
yeah, so which leaves you very limited when it comes to time. But you just have to create time for it because when learning can be difficult at times. That's why community to helps because if you have a community of people learning similar thing that you are learning, right, to be easy to ask them questions, to be easy to have a very quick call with them, because most times you don't get to learn things on your own easily, and most times even if you use blogs, you use Stack Overflow, you use different tools, our learning capacity is different. So most times you have to see someone to help you, look into it, to help you explain all these things to you. So that is very, very that's very essential for you to make use of it. And then also you said when someone is learning particular software and struggling to get or understanding, abandon it and then where with other tasks. Time management is very important because in most organizations, right, they even teach you time management. They teach you communication, they teach you time management, they teach you documentation, they teach you things like soft skills, a lot of soft skills. So that's why working with organizations matters because they teach you these things not just for them but for your own personal goals. So as this now, right, you really have to set goals for yourself. If your class is 2 hours, 3 hours, at least set like 1 hour each day, because since you take a bath each day, you eat each day, you pray each day if you do. So there's no excuse for you not to be able to learn for 1 hour. So it's just you setting your goals. So setting up your goals will really help you fix this. So I think that will help you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's great. Before before you
yeah,
go, Mr. Terry, just wanted to chip in something. Yeah, it's still on the question he actually asked. Sometimes I do feel a situation like this is as a result of not having um like focus, not having something you actually want to focus on. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if someone just like delve into anything, maybe you feel you can program or you feel you can design or you feel you can like do something, and at the end of the day you find it difficult to follow. Like you see, at the end of like at that point, one might just like decide to step down and then move up with something else. And if like you got my point, so you can then see.
Yeah, very clear. Just before I answer, I wanted to piggyback on something very important that Kingsley mentioned. The fact that it's my personal belief that you would always have time for what is important for you. And that's no matter what, how you spin it. He mentioned the fact that you bath, you brush your teeth, you eat. Those things are important for you daily. And so if learning something is really important to you, you will find the time to do it, no matter how busy you are. I want to talk about passion a bit. So I know I live in a different generation from Kingsley. When I was in school, my time, I schooled in the north. There were only two places that had internet. Jos, Plateau State, University of Jos. I'm sure some of you can't even imagine a world like that. And then there was Maiduguri, University of Maiduguri. The world was Nigeria was a better place then. There was no tribal, no Boko Haram or all those sort of things. And I would travel 5 hours to go and do research. In fact, I was in engineering, but people in computer science would give me their projects to go help them do research. And I would gladly, that's how I learned the internet. I had that passion. I would spend my money to go and sit in front of internet just to be in top of internet. That's the kind of passion I don't see in the younger generation today that try something once and give up. Learning or change is not easy. It comes with resilience as well. There are days when you don't feel your best, but you have to train yourself, train your brain, train your understanding. And of course, today's world hasn't helped anything. Our attention span is really short. So a lot of people want that quick success, and there's nothing like that. Anybody that was successful today, except you are doing Yahoo Yahoo, had even Yahoo, they spend time doing work. They spend time studying their victims. Nothing comes for free. You must sit down. You must take the time. You must go through the pain of growing through something. There's nothing. If you're in that set of mindset, there's nothing. As fast as the world is today, everything must go through process of learning. You're going into something new. You must go through the process of teaching learning. When you were born, you didn't just wake up and grow up to be an adult. You went through crawling. You went through running and falling down. You went through the teething pain, your teeth fell off and all of that until you became a mature human being. It's the same for everything. When you're learning something, but there are faster ways of learning, or you can crash your learning in the sense that if you get a mentor that will show you all the loopholes, hey, don't pass it, don't pass it, you short your learning. So that's what I would say. So there's no don't shortchange, there's no shortcut. Find the time. If it's important to you, sit on it. The second thing I want to say is also know your strengths and your weaknesses. Some of you want to, because you had programming in school, not everybody is born to be a programmer. Some people, it comes natural to them. And I give example of myself. When I got into technology, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be a coder. I would code, but the amount of hours it would take me was somebody something would take me 2 hours to do. Somebody would do it in 5 minutes. That person has a natural gift. And so I sat down with myself. So what is it I can do within this technology field? And I found out in tech, project management, agile, and then that led to other things. So one of the things to do is to also know the kind of person you are. Some people, coding doesn't come natural to you. Don't force it. Do in the tech ecosystem, there's so many things. So in fact, is more now with the advance of AI, there's a lot more branches, more things that you can do. So you don't always have to be a coder, you don't always have to learn. So I'm not discouraging you from learning software. What I'm simply saying is find out what your strength is and play in your area of strength.
Yeah, I agree with you 100. Yeah, I agree with you. Sharafidin, does that answer your question?
Yes, Douglas, it does. It
All right,
does.
all right. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we can still take one more question. Does anyone have any questions to ask? You can raise up your hand, or you can just speak if you have a question. Any question? You can raise up your hand if you have any. All right, so that's it. I'll take the absence as a no. So to the speakers, thank you so much for creating time to join us today. You did wonderfully great, and I believe the audience really picked one or two from all you said. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate
Yeah,
giving us the
yeah, and
opportunity.
then to our audience also, thank you so much for joining. We can all drop off now and go on with our daily activities. Thank you once again.
Weekend.
All right.